So as you can see in this shot, we started working on this engine before we actually got the idea of putting this on film, because it might be of interest to other people working on these cars and wanting to do the work themselves, or just being interested in the history of the model and the PRV engine. You can see that we've removed the intake manifold on this motor together with the injectors and the fuel rails. We're going to show you those in yet another video. I'm going to put the link in here somewhere. What you can see in front of you at the very back is the throttle body housing with the throttle motor, and you can also see the cruise control and acceleration cable dolly up here. Then you can see this part of the engine where the injection manifold would go. You can see the thermostat up here, and the cylinder banks on both sides with the camshafts, the left camshaft here and the right camshaft over here with the rocker arms and the valves, and also the timing chain. This motor has a timing chain which will last, to our experience, at least 200,000 miles. It always depends on regular oil changes, of course. These engines are extremely robust, but mind you, that's only the B280E or F variant. The smaller, older variants, B28 and B27, are prone to failure if they're not meticulously looked after. But there are certain things you have to know when dealing with these engines, when working on these engines yourself. There are certain issues that you have to be informed about, that you have to take into account, and you have to be, let's say, to make this and not too expensive of a hobby, you have to be able to do basic maintenance work yourself, or even extended maintenance as we're doing here. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to find a mechanic who's actually knowledgeable about these engines, and it's also going to be difficult to check if the work is being done to the specifications originally defined by the manufacturer. These engines are unapologetic for mistakes when you're working on them, but if you do the work properly, if you follow the maintenance routines, if you do the checks required to keep these engines running, they're virtually indestructible. And we're going to take a close look at what you have to do to keep your engine running. So why did we remove basically the whole top part of the engine? Well, this engine has a specialty that you might know from the Volkswagen air-cooled engines. It doesn't have hydraulic tappets. You have to adjust your valve lash. I think manufacturer specification says you have to do it every 25 or 30,000 miles. That's about every 50,000 kilometers. I don't know when it was last done on this car. I've just completed the job. I'm going to show you what the steps are to adjust your valves in yet another video. But suffice to say, it's a job that will take at least an afternoon to complete, especially because in order to adjust your valves, you will have to remove a lot from the top of the engine. Amongst other things, you will have to remove the AC compressor without disconnecting the system, and you will have to bind the AC compressor assembly to the right dome strut with a string or with a bit of rope in order to get it out of the way. Otherwise you won't be able to remove the right valve cover. So why is this engine still open? Basically, we're waiting for the spare parts to arrive. They're prone or bound to be arriving in about 3 weeks' time, when we will be getting back into the revision of this motor and into some more videos showing you what to do.